Jai Hind. As you all know that it's a pandemic time. Hope you and your family is safe. Due to the threat of coronavirus, NCC Directorate Delhi has decided to adopt distributive method of training. So, NCC training will be done through online modules until further notice. Cadets will be provided with recorded lectures that they can watch as per their convenience and learn from them. Thus, welcome to the class of disaster management. Our aim to teach you about disaster management is to acquaint you about the various types of disasters and their management at different levels. Today, we will learn about the topic in three different parts. In part 1, we will talk about what is disaster, types of disasters, and how do we manage them. In part 2, we'll learn about the various existing organizations working on ground and their policies. In part 3, we'll learn the role of NCC in disaster management. First, let's see what is a disaster. Disaster is commonly used to denote any odd event, natural or man made, which brings about immense misery to a region and it becomes difficult to cope with the situation through local resources. In layman's language, we can say that disaster is any event which do not occur in our daily life or any unexpected event that occur on very large scale and our local services are not enough to cope up with the situation and thus special forces are required. These kinds of events are called disasters. There are two types of disasters, natural and man-made. Natural disasters are those that occur naturally without human interference. They can be further divided into three parts: air related, water related, and earth related. Air related, like storms, cyclones, tornadoes, tidal waves, generally the strong winds that blows in circle and sucks up everything that comes in its way. Then we have water related, like floods when there is a lot of water on roads. Cloudburst, that is the dump of large amount of water with hail and thunder. Excessive rains or drought when there is no water at all. Earth related, like earthquakes, tsunamis, landslides, volcanic eruptions when the lava erupts from the volcanoes, or the pandemics, that is virus or diseases spread in the whole world. Then we have man-made disasters. Man-made disasters are those that occur due to human interference, like accidents, industrial mishaps. For example, Chernobyl. It was a nuclear power plant in Ukraine. In 1986, the plant operators did an unsanctioned experiment due to which one of their reactors exploded, resulting in a large number of deaths. And because of it, to this date, the place is uninhabited. Or tragedies in India like Bhopal gas leak, Vizag gas leak that occurred on 7th May 2020, in which LG Polymers chemical plant in RR Venkatpuram, which was unattended because of COVID-19 lockdown, when reopened, leaked gas from their plant and affected over 1,000 people. Fire, contamination, terrorist activity warfare, war resulting in death of many innocents, and tragedies like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where US Air Force dropped atomic bombs resulting in over a lakh civilian casualties during World War II. Ecological imbalance like depletion of wildlife, degradation of human resources, extreme pollution, etc. Our next topic is assistance during natural and other calamities. Here we will talk about the help that people requires or the help that we have to provide during such calamities. First, we need to set up the information centers so that the correct information can be provided to people. This will help the people whose loved ones get stuck in such disasters. Also, during these disasters, our telecommunication services get disrupted and hence they should be reactivated so that rumors or panic can be eliminated. Second, when disaster occurs, they damage our road, rail communication. Thus, this should be re-established so that movement of people do not get disrupted and hence damage or the panic can be minimized. Third, people lose their homes and things when disaster occurs. The relief camps should be established. People who need shelter can be kept here and they can be taken care of. Fourth, casualties do occur in the disasters. It becomes our duty to evacuate or rescue the people stuck during such times. Fifth, the people who get injured in the disasters should be provided with the first aid and proper medical care, and hence the medical centers should be set up for the same. Sixth, during the disasters, people do get injured, but proper sanitation facilities, that is, hygienic environment, should be provided so that no further disease could spread because of lack of hygiene like cholera, diarrhea, etc. Seventh, most important point is to provide basic needs of food and water to the people affected because of the disasters. Eighth, many people lose their lives in such disasters. Their bodies should be disposed because this could create two problems. First, it could create panic among people. Or secondly, the bodies of people could further cause any kind of diseases. Hence, the carcass should be disposed properly. Ninth, proper patrolling should be done so that people stuck could be rescued or help could be provided to those who needs it. Liaison, which means the proper communication should be established with everyone. 10th, sometimes the accidents like air crash occurs in remote areas. Casualties should be searched properly in those areas, and where there are no hospitals in the vicinity of such areas, the help should be provided to such people. Now, we will talk about the disaster and civil affairs. Government has set up few departments and forces who help during the disasters. One of them is Civil Defense Organization. It was first established in India on 24th October 1941, but it was enacted or the law was passed by the Parliament in May 1968. It mainly consists of three measures: protective preventive measures, control measures, and restorative measures. Protective preventive measures. In this measure, if a disaster occurs, we can prevent whatever is left and prevent it from spreading further. Or sometimes take prevention in areas which are prone to any kind of disasters, like hilly areas are more prone to landslides, so there is always a team on standby for such disasters so that the damage could be minimized. Second, control measures. This include the steps required to control the damage from the disaster that occurred so that it could be eliminated or stopped from spreading further. Then we have restorative measures. Here, we restore the services that gets damaged in disasters like transportation, telecommunication, medical camps for the people who needs them, or the shelter camps for the people who lost their homes. Now let's talk about civil defense. At the national level, the Home Minister is responsible for the civil defense. It is the duty of the Director General, usually the senior police officer, to advise and report the Home Ministry for all the matters related to civil defense. The Civil Defense Organization basically consists of Home Guards and the firefighting units. We will talk about how do these organizations works on national, state and local levels. First we have NDMA, that is National Disaster Management Authority. Disaster Management Act of India was passed on 23 December 2005, which envisaged or imagined the creation of NDMA, which was headed by Prime Minister. There are further 9 people who assist Prime Minister on this. There is a National Executive Committee which consists of Union Home Secretary as chairperson, secretary of various ministries, departments and chief of integrated defense staff. Let's talk about NDRF, that is National Disaster Response Force. At present, it consists of 12 battalions located in Assam, West Bengal, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh. What are the role of NDRF? First, they are formed specifically for the purpose of minimizing the effect of disaster. Like they did great work in Vizag gas leak recently, nor the leak could result in large number of death tolls. They acquire and upgrade the training and skills. They impart training to state response force. They organize community training and prepare them to react during disasters like mock drills in schools, colleges, NCC camps, and public areas. They communicate, performs recce, rehearse, and organize mock drills. They deploy people for impending disasters and build the capacity of the community. Then on the state level, we have State Disaster Management Authority, which is headed by Chief Minister and 7 members who help him in performing such duties. One of the members may be designated as the Vice Chairperson of the state authority by Chief Minister. This will be assisted by State Executive Committee. This is a committee which constitute an advisory committee of experts. They shall be responsible for laying down the policies and plans for disaster management in the state. They should also recommend guidelines for minimum standard reliefs, like they are maintaining the quality and quantity of food to be distributed during COVID-19 pandemics. Then on the district level, we have DDMA, that is District Disaster Management Authority. The District Disaster Management Authority is headed by District Collector, Deputy Commissioner, or District Magistrate. There is a co-chairperson too, who is elected by the local authorities. Let's talk about the role of local authorities. They ensures the training of its officers and employees and maintenance of resources so as to be readily available for the use at the time of disaster. It is their duty to ensure that all construction projects under it conform to the standards and specifications laid down. It also carries out relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction activities in the affected area within its jurisdiction. This is the diagram or the representation of the civil defense authorities that we just studied. It could be clearly seen that NDMA consists of departments like Planning Commission, National Disaster Response Force, National Institute of Disaster Management, and many more. Similarly, SDMA comprises of State Police, State Disaster Response Force, Home Guards, firefighting units, etc. And hence, DDMA includes NGOs, academic institutions, corporate bodies, and furthermore. Next, we will now study the assistance that is provided by NCC during natural or other calamities. The state ADG, DDG are the decision makers who act autonomously, keeping DG NCC informed. It is their job to carry out disaster rescue and emergency relief operations with the utmost speed. The group commander or the battalion commanders are the ones who execute the plans and maintain a close communication with the district disaster management authorities. Let's talk about the methods of providing NCC assistance. The minute we receive any requisition for our assistance, the CO unit group commander takes the following actions. The first step is to communicate with the ANOs and ensure the maximum cadets could be assembled in the shortest time possible. This musters the adequate number of SD, SW, JD, JW cadets, ANOs, and the PI staff. Then the CO organizes various action groups of 20 to 30 cadets under an ANO and a PI staff. They provide proper briefing, that is, what to do, how to do, etc. Then the groups are allocated with their duties and are handed over to the civil defense authorities. NCC monitors the assistance that is provided and guides the required actions. Let's talk about the role of NCC in disaster management. We work with the traffic police authorities to prevent any kind of traffic jams and ensures the safe passage to the people. It is our duty to work with civil authorities and provide emergency services like medical facilities, food, water, clothes, medicines, etc. to the people stuck in disaster. We handle the communication services, that is, to provide the correct information among people or to communicate between the people stuck in disaster with their families so that panic and rumors could be minimized. As we talked earlier, we provide necessary items, that is, food, clothes, water, medicines to the people. The proper first aid facilities are provided to the people stuck or injured because of such disasters. We aware people about the known do's and don'ts during such calamities. We help civil defense authorities in maintaining or managing shelter rescue camps. Proper hygiene is maintained so that no other disease could spread. We help the local authorities in evacuating and rescuing the people who are affected by the disaster. NCC also provide their help in carcass disposal so that no further panic and contamination could be spread. Next slide talks about the creation of groups. It means the groups which are formed by the cadets to provide the earlier mentioned facilities. There are 7 such groups. First, traffic control group. In this group, the cadets who have the required knowledge of traffic rules are placed. These cadets help the traffic police in maintaining safe passage for the people. Relief group. This group consists of cadets who help the civil authorities by collecting the necessary items from them and providing or allocating the items to the people who needs them. Shelter management group. Here, cadets help the authorities in planting the tents and managing the people who are staying in such camps. Evacuating and rescue group. The cadets who are physically strong are kept in such groups. They help the local authorities by rescuing the people stuck in disasters. First aid medical group. The cadets who have the knowledge regarding first aid or who knows about the medicines are kept in this group. Carcass disposal group. Cadets who are not only physically but mentally and psychologically strong are kept in this group because cadets could easily panic seeing the dead bodies. Sanitation group. In this group, cadets help our authorities in providing sanitation facilities and maintaining the hygiene after the disasters. From now on, we will study about the role of different posts in our NCC during disasters. First, we will talk about the role of DG NCC. He is the overall coordinator of disaster management. The branches under him in our headquarters perform the below mentioned roles. Training branch. It formulates and promotes the standard operating procedures and implement them on ground. PNC branch. This branch helped the NCC in providing the due recognition for the work done and risk taken. It provides publicity by being in contact with the media. Then we have PNF branch. It takes care of the financial aspects, that is, the affairs related to money matters. It does the group insurance of the cadets. Logistic branch. It bridges the gap between the assistance required by local authorities and provided by the NCC. MS branch. It takes care of all the legal matters and prevent any kind of illegal activity. It also provides the earned honors and awards to the NCC staff and cadets. Now we'll talk about the role of directorates. They formulate the SOPs, plans by being in contact with the affected states. They try to find the data not known and update the authorities about them. They perform the following roles. The strength of cadets is maximized. They contact the cadets and call them for their help. They establish a control room which takes information from the higher authorities and provide them to the lower ones. ADG, DDG remains in contact with the state administration. Proper training is provided to the NCC cadets who are allocated in such disaster rescue operations. They prepare the checklist of warning systems and ensure what we have and what more can be done. List of communication systems which are available and which are required is prepared. More and more NCC staff and cadets are made available. They provide the elaborate role of officers, ANOs, PI staff and clearly mention their respective roles. Next we have the role of group headquarters. They revise the plans and SOPs made for the affected area and update the data if required. They too establish the control rooms for the convenient flow of information between higher to lower authorities. They rehearse the training provided to the cadets, officers, ANOs at the directorate level. They monitor the SOPs, plans that are made. The list is prepared and the staff is also told the ground reality and the actual damage caused by the disaster to eliminate surprises. They strengthen the available database. Proper documentation of every possible aspect is provided. They elaborate the role of officers, ANOs, etc. and make them implement on ground. Let's talk about NCC units. They too revise the plans and make changes if required. They monitor the resources required and help the authority in strengthening them. At every level, the database is strengthened so that the risk and surprises could be minimized. They prepare capsules on disaster management and provide the required training. They update the checklist and always monitor them continuously for the required changes. They provide the motivation to the NCC cadets, ANOs, PI staff. They try to prepare them psychologically by providing them full information and mentally prepare them for the groundwork. Next, we have educational institutions. They provide and rehearse the do's and don'ts in the process of assisting civil defense authorities. Proper and complete awareness about the disaster is provided to the required members. They prepare the checklist of items that are required in such situations. They provide training for the preparation and execution of plans SOPs. Their role is to delegate the responsibility to the different staff made available to them. Last, we have the role of individuals. To have the complete knowledge of plans before implementing them. They should be fully aware about the work to be done and risk attached to it. They should undergo proper training so that risk could be minimized. When the individuals are fully aware, they respond well to the situations as well as to the warnings. Let's discuss the precautions to be kept in mind. You should always know the hazards present in your area. Prepare a disaster plan. You should always have a communication as well as an evacuation plan. Practice the steps that are needed to minimize the risk. Always be in contact with your authorities and provide them complete information. Keep the emergency kit on hand and never take unnecessary risks. What are the precautions that are required during pandemic? A person should be well aware about the difference between epidemic and pandemics. That is, epidemic, those are the ones that occurs only in certain area and do not spread further. Whereas pandemics are the ones that spreads in the whole world. Always keep in mind and be well aware about the risk, factors, options, good hygiene, medical services, etc. Follow social distancing strategies because the cause of pandemic could be unknown. It could be airborne, waterborne, etc. Keep your supervisors updated. Last but not the least, we have honors and incentives. It is encouraging to the NCC volunteers to be recognized by the media and people during their dedicated work. However, as the NCC motto goes, unity and discipline, volunteers are encouraged to not desire incentives. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.